Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast. My guest this week is Kelsee Zuidema, and I want to bring you in and welcome you. Thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jim. It's an honor. I'm super excited to be on.
It's been a journey so far with the guests that we've had and things in their stories and things that have been brought out and stuff. But I want to let everybody know Kelsee is a beginner entrepreneur right now. She's in the beginning stages of of her journey, and I thought it would be really neat for the listeners to see somebody maybe where they're at right now, or maybe just a little more advanced, and if they're have not started yet. So I'm going to ask you, Kelsee, what is your story?
Yeah. Okay. So from the time that I was young, time I can remember, I always had that entrepreneurial passion. Of course, at the time, I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. But I remember going out, I would do lemonade stands, the classic kid things. But then I always was looking for something to do that was different. So I remember one Easter, I took all the candy that I got and I went door to door, and I had this little Barbie Jeep, and I hooked up a wagon. I put it all on the back, and I went door to door and I sold people my Easter candy.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I just was like, I'm just going to go sell this. So I did that. And then we did a pop stand one time instead of lemonade. And I mean, we had a mini fridge out in my driveway. We did it for over a week straight. And I would take my money that I earned and I would reinvest it. At the time, I didn't know that's what I was doing. But I would reinvest it. I would go buy more pop. I would put some away. And then I keep selling. And I kind of led our whole daycare that we had at my house. And I was like, we're going to do this every single day. We did it for hours on end. And we ended up earning enough money to take us to our local amusement park, Michigan's Adventures. So I kind of rallied the troops, got them together, told them this is what we're doing. And we just sold. And that's the earliest phase of entrepreneurship that I can remember.
That's so funny. It brought back a memory. When we were little, not so little, I don't know, I was 13, something like that, I can't remember. So I had already mentioned on the show before, I had the idea for wrestling figures, and it was a $6.5 million idea, just for the idea. Vince McMahon paid that much money for it. So we started our own little wrestling group, and we made wrestling belts, and I would sell tickets to our little shows and stuff like this. I was promoting and stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Everybody starts young. I swear, I hear a lot of stories about people starting young and doing little things. Robert Kiyosaki had something in his book where they're trying to make nickels or something like that. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes, and, I'm going to be reading that book actually. So
that's a really, really good book. Really good book.
I'm excited.
Read that a few times, and that brought back to me oh, okay. So a lot of us have that entrepreneurial bug, if you will, from childhood. But we just know we're different than everybody else and see things differently. Not that we're better. I never want to put that out there because I don't believe that's true. Right. I just believe that we're different. Some of us maybe are called odd and crazy a little bit.
Me?
But yeah, you. But me too. But I'll go with different. I think that works.
That's a good word.
Okay, go ahead. Go on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're totally fine. So I can remember those times as a child. And then coming up into, it was middle school. I remember a distinct conversation I was having with one of my friends. And we were talking about what we wanted to do when we got older, and I really wasn't sure. At that time, I was just thinking, what would make me the most money, right? And this kid, he's sitting next to me. We were in 7th grade science, and he said, I'm going to go do business. And I said, business? And I said, what would business even entail? I was confused, and I kind of sat on that thought, and he was like, well, it can kind of be anything. And I was like, who is this kid? I said, you don't want to be a doctor, you don't want to be a dentist, the normal, typical money-making career. He said business, and I, at the time, had no concept of what that even meant. So I kind of threw it in the back of my mind, and I was like, okay. And then went through getting into high school, everything like that. And I remember coming home one day and I told my mom, I said, I'm going to be a dentist. And she was like, okay. And my motives were more for income and to prove to people that I could do something big. And I thought that dentistry would be a great way to prove that. I could prove that I could stick out a tough college career for 7 years. I could bring in a steady and comfortable income for a family someday. And I didn't really care that it wasn't something that I was good at or passionate about. So I took AP Bio, and I remember sitting in that class and wondering one day, what am I doing here? This is not somewhere that I belong. Kids are pulling answers that are not in the book, and I'm wondering where they got them from, but it's because they're wired that way. They are good with science. They're good with anatomy. Their brains get it. And I remember they just know, and that's what they're passionate about. And so I was sitting there, and I came home one day, and I was doing my AP homework, and I was like, I can't do this for 7 years, let alone the rest of my life. I was like, this will end in me not being happy, failing to some degree, and being stuck, essentially. So I went out to the kitchen, and my mom was standing there, and I said, I'm not going to be a dentist. And by this point, we had gone to college visits, and I met with science professors. I met with people who are head of the dental, division of that school. And I was like, this is what I'm doing. And I went to her and I said, I'm not doing dentistry. I was like, I can't. And so she was like, well, it took you long enough to figure it out.
Oh.
So I said, I think I'm going to do business. And obviously by this point, I'm a junior in high school. I know what business is. I know what you can do with it. And I still had that like burning entrepreneurial, spirit inside of me. So she's like, I'm glad that you figured that out, because I was going to support you, but I knew that's not what you're meant to do. So she was wrestling with it because she saw that that's not the path I was supposed to go. And she was just waiting for me to hit that light bulb moment and say, you're right. That's not my path. That's not what I'm good at. And that's okay. That's what other people are good at. But I have these abilities and strengths over here that I was completely neglecting the whole time. And I was like, oh, let me move over here. So I decided, by that point, I had already decided what school I was going to go to. And I had a volleyball scholarship. And so I went into my freshman year and I was like, I'm doing business. So I actually was able to go through my college degree and get my undergrad as well as my master's all in 4 years. So I played volleyball, did my undergrad, did my master's, and I just graduated in May. So
what was your major again?
Just general business. I did general business undergrad, and then I got my MBA. So
That's
I did
amazing.
that. Yeah, it was great. I loved every second of it. It was great going to class and understanding the concepts and understanding the curriculum that I was being taught and feeling like this is where I'm supposed to be, which I never had that feeling when it came to school. I've always been in math classes. The only business class I didn't feel a part of was accounting. Let me tell you.
The math stuff, huh?
Yeah, no. The math stuff is something that I struggle with, but it's something that I'm aware I struggle with. And it's that competitive spirit within me that says, okay, you're not good at that. Well, you need to get good at that.
Well, that
So,
or now, I got to say something there, because there's a lot of times where if we're not good at something, we might outsource that
yes.
thing that instead, because I think, in my opinion only, but you want to focus on the things that you really need to succeed. And if
Mm-hmm.
you feel that that math is something that you need to succeed, then go for it. But if you
Yeah.
feel like you could trust to outsource that to someone else, then you
Yeah.
can focus on the main things you need to do every day to grow your business. So
Right. Right.
just want to throw that out there so that you weren't spending so much time trying to acquire knowledge that you could easily farm out.
Yes, and I completely agree with that. I think business is a team effort, and
Yes.
it takes everybody.
Yeah.
And so I'm never going to be an accountant of a business. I just know that. But there's also something inside me that says, okay, you won't be that, but you need to at least understand it to a degree, to have that
Right.
knowledge
Right.
and to grow that. I know that I'll never be able to do a balance sheet successfully when it comes to a business, but understanding that and
Yeah.
outsourcing, I agree.
I think you have to understand the basic concept or the
Yes,
basic
exactly.
knowledge because I
Exactly.
think you have to have an understanding of everything in your business.
Right. Exactly.
So, and a control to that point to know that you're not being robbed or not being taken advantage of, those type of
Right.
things. But to say that you have to have an expertise in it is different.
Right. No.
So I think
Yeah.
that that's where you kind of like, hands off that part. I have somebody I
Hmm.
know that is an accountant and is a chief
Hmm.
financial officer of a business. So, if I got that type of problem, I'll just probably go to him
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
instead of me.
A foundation, a basic understanding. That's what I would want. And then I could be comfortable with saying, okay, I trust you. I can outsource this because I know that's not my strength. I'm not going to put all my time and energy into it and neglect my strengths and abilities that I do have within what I'm doing. So
Exactly. So
I'm
you
on the
got out
same
of you
page
got
with
out
you.
of college. In my eye. You know what? We're very transparent on here. I'm not even editing that out.
That's fine. Don't edit it out.
So, you went to college. You got your master's and your degree. That's amazing. That shows that you have what it takes on the inside to succeed, I think. And
Well,
anyway,
thanks.
so you do that, and what's the next step? So what do you go into then?
So I was living in Indiana and I thought I
Well,
had it
that's too
all.
bad. No, I'm kidding.
I know, right? I thought I had it all planned out, which was my first mistake. So I was going through college and I actually came up with a clothing line idea. I found someone who could make the designs and was really good with art, had them make the designs. We had meetings. And at that time, I didn't have that grit or desire to push past roadblocks that occurred.
Hmm.
So I felt so stuck. I couldn't find a manufacturer. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. And I was very immature in my business mindset. I was like, okay, well, these things aren't working out. Push it to the side. It's not working.
Let
So
let me ask you what do you know what the specific roadblocks were, maybe internally or even externally that disheartened you, that made you feel like, oh, I can't do this. This is overwhelming to me.
yes, 100% self doubt. It
Really?
was, I know what I want to do, but am I good enough to do it? I'm
Yep.
young.
Yep.
I don't know everything. I've never ran a business before. How how do I go about this and tackle everything that's going to come along with it? And how do I lead people while doing it? Because I had I had a designer who looked to me for everything.
Hmm.
What are we doing? What are the next steps? What would you like me to do? And I hit a wall of I don't know. I don't know what to do next. And so I think that began to take over my mindset instead of
Okay.
saying, okay, you don't have it all figured out, but
Mhm.
just work through it one thing at a time. And so
Sometimes,
that's what
Sorry.
That's what I
Yeah,
mean when
we
I
do that.
say.
We're doing that good.
That's
was
just what I
thinking,
mean.
yeah, I was thinking sometimes when we have those things, the first business that we try doesn't work, or maybe second, third, 75th, Anyway, but every step is a growing and learning process, and something that we get into that we're all of a sudden like, uh-oh. I can't do that, or something is inside of me is just saying, whoa, this is so big for me right now.
Yeah.
And that's when we get mentors, and that's when we get people that sow into our lives and tell us, okay, I've been there. Here's what you do. I know what you're feeling. This is how you get past that. And those things, and that get you to that next level of, when you go and you're scared out of your mind again.
Yes. Yeah. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. You will always reach something that you don't know.
It's like building a house without knowing how to do it.
Exactly.
You try it one step at a time, and then you're like, oh, my foundation's really bad. Maybe I need to go redo that. Or, I was supposed to use wood. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, there was just things. There's just things in there that you're like, okay, now I know that step. Now I got that step. I can go to the next step. And then when the next step happens, you're like, that was supposed to be drywall. Oh, that's why the cement is working so well. I mean, there's just things that people know and they've done before, and they've built that house before that we haven't done. Exactly. And it's almost like we're trying to do this major, major project in our minds, and we don't even know the first step, the second step, the third step. We're just diving in and doing whatever we can.
Yep.
Okay, so you went and you did the design. Now, how did that end up? I mean, you still doing that, or did you not? Are you not doing that?
So here's the thing. I still think about that business constantly. And I know that it's something that I want to do still. And I know that I can do it. So I'm working a lot right now on learning as much as I can in regards to life and business, and starting internally and changing that mindset of you can't to you can, and what do you need to do to be able to do it. So I have samples of the clothes in my room.
Can you show us that, or?
Well, it's downstairs in my room. But yeah.
I wish I would have known before we started this. I would have had you get them. That would have been cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll send you over some stuff I can show you.
That'd be cool. Then we'll put it in the group.
Yeah, there we go.
Do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have samples of them, which was a huge victory for me. Are they what I wanted? No. But I have them. And so I think about that business constantly, and it's still something that I want to do. And as I'm learning more, it's like, okay, like you just need to knuckle down and get some grit and go after it. And so it's just been a lot of working internally so that I can lead and I can do those things, and being humble about it and saying, I don't know everything, but I'm going to surround myself with people who know more than me so that I can know a little bit more,
That's right.
And so I was working at a company back in Indiana. I thought that I was going to go into sales for them. I wanted to move to Indianapolis, and I wanted to do just like independent sales for them. And I actually got offered that job.
Wow.
And I turned it down.
You did.
There's some
That's awesome.
There's some more things that go with that in my decision to not stay. Nothing with the company, but just my life. And so what I saw for myself, where I was heading, everything like that. So that was a weird moment, because when I started there, I had this goal and I said, this is what I want to do. I want to be a sales rep for these people. And I want to do it in Indianapolis, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. Well, I worked for them for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I remember that moment where the sales manager came up to me and said, "Hey, I think that we could get you that spot in Indianapolis, and we'll give you half the account."
Wow.
And I said, "I can't." I said, "I'm actually moving." And so then I started that whole process, and it's weird turning down something that you were working for.
Yeah, it
It
is.
really is.
Yep, you turned down a
And
goal. That's tough.
it's really weird. And it was tough. But at the same time, I had so much peace about it. And so I knew that that wasn't where I was going. So I turned that down, and about a month and a half, 2 months ago, a little over, I moved back home. And so that's something I never thought I would do. I thought I'd go to college, I'm going to be financially independent by the time I graduate, and boom, love you, fam. I'll catch up with you, but I'm good. I can take care of myself.
Mhm.
That's my independent mentality that I've had,
Yep.
that's instilled in me. And here we are. I live at home.
You know
So
what? There's nothing wrong with that, though.
it's not, and it has been the best thing that I could have ever asked for. Um, I felt very alone in Indiana after I graduated, after I was done with playing volleyball, after I was done with the team sport, after I was done with school. I felt very alone. I had friends at work, but it was hard to fully connect because they had families. They're 30 plus years old. I'm 22. I'm at a completely different phase of life. Um, and so it was just a really lonely time for me. And I'm a very big people person. So when
Mhm.
you don't have those interactions, it's hard. And it mentally was really taking a toll on me. So when I called my mom and I asked her, I said, "I think I want to move back home. Um, this isn't this isn't the path I want to go here. What do you think?" And she was like, "We'll clean out the room." Like, they were ready because
Awesome.
she saw the struggle that I was going through in that loneliness, and she knew it wasn't good for me. So she was like, "We're ready." So it was the best thing that could have ever happened. I've loved being at home. It comes with its challenges, but to have that support and love constantly, and to be surrounded by people who are your number one fans and
Mhm.
building you up and want to see you succeed and will do whatever it takes to get you there and help you has been tremendous in my growth. So then pair that with what I'm doing now and working on my business here and working at the shake clubs, and doing that, the community, I think, is essential
I
to
agree.
someone's growth because you are constantly surrounded by all different types of personalities, all different types of knowledge, and you are able to learn and grow and just work on yourself and be fully immersed in a setting that has the same mindset as you.
See, I like
And
that too because I think that it's important to. I think it's important to have those people in your life and that support group and the people that are watching you um, and support you and try to help you. You know what I
yes,
mean? Because if you can
yes,
surround yourself with enough people, there's enough hands to lift you up to where you need to go.
exactly.
You know,
And that's not always going to be the case, I've found.
right.
You're
I know
not
that.
always going to
Yeah,
be surrounded, but if you have that opportunity, take it.
that's
Take
true.
it
That's true.
fully. Yes,
That's true. I
yes,
mean, I know in my life I do. I have a lot of people that are watching what I'm doing. I'm going to say this to you as well, because I think I mentioned this on the last show or the show before, where you've announced to the world you want to do business, and you've announced to the world this is who you are, this is what you want to do. And there are people that are the skeptic people, but they're watching you. They're saying, I don't think you're going to succeed, but I want to know more, and I want to see if you do, because if you do, then hey, I want that too.
Right. Yep. They're there
So,
for you when you're doing really good,
right.
and they're skeptical of you when you're just starting.
But I
Yes.
no, but I mean it as a responsibility for us that we are
Hmm.
showing a different way and that we're trying to, I don't know, open people's eyes or expand their minds, open their
Hmm.
minds a little bit to other things that are possible. And I
Right.
think that while those people are watching us, it gives us a drive to do good. Just so
Yes.
that those people that are coming along with us eventually, see, I don't look at it as they don't like me right now or they don't like what I'm doing or they think it's stupid or whatever they think. I
Hmm.
don't see that. I see them as people that are looking at it saying, well, I don't think I could do that, but I want to see if that guy could do it. Either that guy could do it. I think pretty much anybody could do it. See?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
So I almost feel the responsibility of that, you know, or not, maybe responsibility is not the right word. I think maybe it's just the heart of all those people that are
Hmm.
looking at me to see what happens. Um,
Right.
I really like that. I like that because I think I can open people's eyes and change their minds and maybe change their lives if they're willing to work.
Yes. And that plays into kind of a purpose that I found as I'm learning more about business and my desires of what I'm doing is to change that mindset of business is about money
Right.
to business is about people.
It
And
really
that is
is.
where I found my purpose. I said, you know what? The money, it'll come,
Yep.
but that's not my main motive. I'm here to provide something to people that's going to potentially and hopefully better or change their lives. And along the way, change their perspective of what a successful businesswoman looks like.
Exactly.
So,
There is such a perception because we talked about this on another show too, and I want to see if you've ever experienced this. So I'm going to ask this question after I get done with this little thing.
okay.
Uh, Andy was talking about it. I think there's some other person. Lynn was talking about this as well, where she had saw rich people, and
Hmm.
they weren't exactly the nicest people. And something inside her said, I never want to be that person. I never want to be the person that looks down on people, steps on people to get somewhere. You know, all these things we think
Yeah.
about well-off people. Number one question, does that affect you at all in your subconscious or your internal thinking or whatever? And two, how do you see people that are well off now that you've got to meet some of them?
Yeah. So I think it affects me in a way that it drives me
Mm.
because I want to be successful,
Hmm.
but not that type of person when it comes to success. I want to I want to be successful but change that mindset. So
Absolutely.
I see what some successful people who have tons of money have built an empire,
Hmm.
the way that they act, and I said, I want to get there but without your characteristics and qualities.
Well,
Essentially.
I've seen like Kevin Bostrom. I had him on the show, and his whole thing was so cool because he was like, I went and bought my mom a car, and he just
Hmm.
lit up, and you could see that was his purpose, that was his motivation. He said, and
Exactly.
I took her to Hawaii, and I was never able to do this, and you see the heart of someone
Hmm.
who has done really well for himself. But yet he's not like, well, I'm doing great and all this other stuff. He's like, my main
Exactly.
thing was my mom, and I thought that was so
Exactly.
cool.
Exactly.
So when we have people like that make it, when we have people like that who are successful, and I think like you, when you get there, you know, I think that those are the people that are the new crop of people that are going to be successful, not the old guard. I think there's a new guard coming that are more
Yeah.
caring and more wanting to help people and things like that. I think
Yes.
that a lot of the newer successful people, their mindset is different. Like you said, I don't want to be like that. I want to be myself. I don't
Hmm.
want I don't want money to change me. Is
Yes.
basically what you're saying.
Yes.
So
I don't want money to change me. I want to use it to change other people to help. You know what I mean? And
that
it comes from a mindset. It says, what's your purpose? What's your drive? What's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it to gain a ton of money, to gain that um, almost fame, You know what I mean when I say
Yeah.
fame and
Notoriety.
to be characterized and identified by what I do rather than who I am. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a
And
good
I
one.
never want to do that. I never want to be identified as my career, as my income, as my materialistic goods, nothing like that. I would
Right.
rather be identified for who I am as a person,
Wow.
because at the end of the day, that gives you so much more fulfillment. Sure, I can have a nice car, but when it comes to the core of who I am I helping other people? Where's my heart? What's my purpose? What am I doing with my money? Am I being selfish with that, or am I giving back to other people and helping them? And that was a mindset change. That was the mindset change from me wanting to be a dentist to me to where I am. And that's the
Right.
best change that
Do
I
I
could
want to
have
drill
ever
into
had.
do I want to drill into people's lives or mouths or
Yeah. Yeah.
cause
Do
them
I want to
suffering or no? I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
Do I want to work that 9 to 5 just so
Hmm.
I can get a paycheck and then go spend it on some materialistic items? Or
Yes.
do I want to do something that helps people, that is something I'm passionate about, that I'm excited for every single day when I wake up?
Yep.
And the paycheck is almost just like a bonus.
It's a
Money
side.
is money, you need money to survive, right? Like money,
Hmm.
you have to have money to get a roof over your head,
Yep.
stuff like that. But if
It's a
that's your
tool.
end goal, it's a tool. And if that's
Mhm.
your end goal, you're going to be left feeling
It,
unhappy, unfulfilled, all of that.
it's
So,
like we were talking, me and Kayla last couple weeks. When I'm taping this right now this is being taped before my guest has seen any of these videos, so
right, yeah.
it's a little difficult for her. But I was on with Kayla, and she was going into that same thing of not wanting to do the 9 to 5 thing.
Mm-hmm.
I do the 7 to 3:30 thing, which
Mm-hmm.
I've said on here, and it is not fulfilling. I mean, yeah, I'm a trainer. I do good there. I mean, people rely on me and stuff and things, but it's not like I'm good at all that stuff really. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
okay at it. I'm not great, but it's not my calling. It's not my passion. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a fish out of water sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not what I want to do, but I need the money to be able to do what I want to do until what I'm doing takes over for that. You
Right.
know, and I don't want people. That's what I get on here. I'm like, oh, no. I don't want people to think I'm this and I'm that, because I'm not. I'm not. I haven't made it yet. I ain't started
Mm-hmm.
yet, really. I'm just out there doing what I love to do.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm. And
So
sometimes we have to do things that maybe we don't want to do in order to
yes,
get to the things that we do want to do.
yes,
And so I think that's important for people to understand. I appreciated when you said on your show, I think it was a couple weeks ago, and you said, I don't recommend someone going and just quitting their job
no, I
and
don't.
just trying to, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to pour this money into this and hopefully we can make the payment on the house. No,
Right.
that would be foolish. Let's
Damn it.
not do that.
Right.
But while you're doing what you may not necessarily want to do, that's where you've been put for that season of life. And what are you doing on the side to build up what you hope to do? And I think that every place that we're put is for a reason. And there's different purposes behind why we're placed where we're placed. So in my previous job, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, but I was placed there for the relationships. I was placed there to learn. I was placed there to build a foundation. And that's great. I think that you can get something out of every season of life if you're willing to be open to that.
And if you're willing to look for the good in things too, I think that's one of my failings at work, because I'm not looking for the good there right now. There's been a lot of changes, and the GM strike has really hurt us, and all this other stuff. So it's been a struggle to find the good things there, and that had got my attitude really bad for a while.
Right.
So now I was telling people what I'm doing, and I have some of the team leaders and whatever saying, "Oh, I know this person. This could be a great guest for you, and this could be a good guest for you." I'm like, that is so cool,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So it's been really good that way. And then I learned a lot actually by just going in there and trying to do the best I can and trying to have a better
Mm-hmm.
attitude about it. Because there was a time where it felt like, damn, this is just sucking the life out of me because I got to
Mm-hmm.
spend 8 hours here and I don't have as much time to do with as what I want to get done and what I want to accomplish in my life.
Right.
But like you said, we're there for a reason. And, so that's something I've learned actually.
Mm-hmm.
And when you brought it up, it kind of hit me a little bit. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I've learned that too, and it's a tough lesson for
It is.
sure. When you're not doing something that you fully are passionate about, and it's easy to focus on the things that you're not doing
Yeah,
instead
I
of
started getting
what
so
you
sick
are.
of this place that I would try to find any excuse not to go
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was getting
Yep.
really bad. But
Hmm.
it's something I want to say about you because people that don't know you, I met you at West Michigan Nutrition, which you were
Hmm.
working at with Andy, and you're what 22? You said.
Yep.
Holy cow. You're very dynamic for 22. You don't act that age. You seem to have a really good head on your shoulders and business wise. You always have a smile for people. Well, maybe not at 5 in the morning, but no, no, you do. And I think you're going to do really well because you're a people person and you really do care about other people. It's not just a front. It's
Well,
real.
thank you.
It's
I
absolutely real.
appreciate that.
But I also want to say something to everybody out there. If someone's young and that age doesn't really define how much knowledge you have
Hmm.
because this lady's 22 and she's got a master's degree. There's people who are 22 out there that don't know as much, but I want you to kind of think about this while I'm saying it, that people that are young are not necessarily uh, as not knowledgeable as you think. And I learned
Hmm.
stuff. I'll learn stuff from you. I have no problem with that. I don't
Right.
believe it. I don't believe in like, oh, I'm older, I'm more experienced, so listen to me stuff.
Hmm.
People, this lady's dynamic, and you need to listen to her on what she's saying because she's been through a little bit. She's in business right now. She's just starting out, but you can see she's got that instinct for it and wants it. So, like I said, don't look down on people because they're young, because they know a little bit more than what you think. So I was just going to say that because I see that in you. But
Well, thank you. I
I
appreciate
do.
that.
So,
Yeah, I think
sorry.
that age helps in some degree because you've gone through more life. I'll give you that. But here's the thing: when you're young, if you have a willing attitude and are able to say, I don't know everything, and that's okay. Because I think as humans, we have this pride about us. It's natural that
Yes.
that wants to know everything and wants to act like we know it all. But
Right.
if you're able to just humble yourself, which is tough, and surround yourself with people who are much more knowledgeable than you, that you can feed off of each other, who also are willing to listen to what you have to say, there's a lot of growth that comes from that. And that's what I've learned. So it's kind of uncomfortable sometimes because of that pride to sit down with someone that's smarter than you because
Mm,
you're like, you immediately go into that self doubt and you're kind of
yep.
like,
Yep.
oh, this person hasn't figured it out. They're way smarter than me. They're in this phase of their business. They're doing this, that, and the other. But when you approach it with that more humble attitude and like, I'm just here to learn and
Mm-hmm.
I know that I can get there, it completely changes the conversation. It goes from intimidation and trying to prove something and trying to have it all figured out and perfect at 22, which far from that, holy cow, to what do you have for me to learn and the belief in yourself that says, I can get there. And it's just another conversation. It's just talking to another person who,
Yep.
however high up they are in business, whatever their income level, whatever they're doing, it puts you on that level of it's just another person. I'm here to learn and I want to learn. And I'm not above myself to say that I have it all figured out.
That's
So,
awesome. That's awesome, and I think that that's key because we don't have it all figured out. Even I just turned 50. I don't have it all
hmm
figured out.
hmm
You know, I'm still learning.
you
So
never will. You never
right,
will.
right. We're all still learning, and I've always believed this. I believe in I don't believe in competition. I always believe in helping others, and I want to lift others up to see them grow. I always believe there's plenty of money for everybody.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
don't, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know about that, but you know, I like synergy. I like getting with people that are doing well, and hey, how you doing? How you doing with
hmm
this? How you doing with that? And really be concerned with them, and not concerned with their income level and what you can get out of that, or what they can get out of you, or whatever it is. You know,
Yeah.
I just think that there's so much more when you are collaborating rather than competing.
Exactly. And we have to stop looking at people as almost like a price tag and
Exactly.
saying, "Oh, I'm just going to go over here to the clearance rack because that's what I think I can afford." And
Right.
instead of going over and looking at this, person or this price tag as the analogy and saying, "Oh, that's too much. Like that's out of my league. I can't do that. We're not on the same level. How could I ever, benefit you? You're only, you know what I mean?" And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
putting it back on the rack and saying,
But
"Nope, I
you're
can't
full.
do that."
You're fulfilling their need too, because we all want to help other people. You
Exactly.
know, it's not I haven't found too many people that have said no, I don't want to do this, and one of the
hmm
people that did say no, I know why, because it's a personal nightmare for them right now, and they don't
Yeah.
want to put all their business out there at this point.
Right.
And I'm
Yep.
like, cool. I'm totally okay with that, because
hmm
but everybody else, it's been, yeah, what the heck, I'll do it. That'll be fun. You
hmm
know, and it's been this thing of this journey of amazing people so far,
Yeah.
and positive people, and people that are real, and people that really want everybody else to succeed with them.
Right.
I'm going to ask you a couple more things. One, you're just starting out. What are you doing right now? So that everybody knows what you're doing and all that other stuff. That'd be a good thing.
So right now, I'm doing a lot of what we would classify as small things, but
Small
really
thing.
they're big things.
Okay.
So I'm working on building habits of discipline. So doing the small things. So we had talked about this in the club the other day, like making my bed every morning.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, such a small task,
I think
but
that was
it's
the book that Andy was reading. I think it's called The Slight Edge, I
yes,
believe.
yep. I'm gonna read that one too.
Yeah,
So
I want to read that one. I'm borrowing that from Andy when he's done.
yeah, yep, I know. Um,
But yeah,
so
you were
I'm
saying
doing
you
those
make your bed
small
every day.
things.
Yeah.
Yep. And just having a willingness to go out and learn and to take in everything that I can, and doing the work, going
Yep.
out, talking to people,
Yep.
um, just connecting with people, doing the things that might seem small now, but are going to build a foundation for what I'm trying to grow. And I'm also learning a lot of patience because I have that, um, I have that, I like that instant gratification, which I don't know many people who don't.
I do.
So there's a lot of, all right, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. Where am I benefit? Like, why am I not benefiting from these things yet? And taking a step back and saying, just keep doing those things, keep building, keep learning, keep doing the small daily disciplines, just keep working internally, especially, and growing as a person. And
Yeah,
eventually you see the fruits of your labor. And
but it's
I
over
have to
time.
really, right. And I had to change my mindset. And I'm like, I've been at this for a month and a half, 2 months. Why am I not super successful? You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
Kelsey,
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way.
It's
And
only
it's
8
a
weeks.
mindset. Yeah, I know. And like to me, that's like the longest time ever. And I should have,
Right.
I should have this and that. And it's like, no. But in the process, it's been really good because I have grown a lot personally.
Good.
And continuing to do that and continuing to take it one day at a time, one task at a time, and flipping that mindset from why am I not successful yet to what can I succeed at right now? What tasks do I have in front of me that I can win, that I can succeed at, and then on to the next and on to the next.
Yeah, if you plant a seed,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't just sprout up into a tree tomorrow and you get apples.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. You got to water it every day, cultivate it, water, and do until this thing comes out of the ground, and then you have to take care of it, and then you have to protect it, and then it's all these things that you do until you finally reap the benefits. It's not an overnight process. There is no such thing as overnight success, because you're only successful to the point that you are on the inside.
Exactly.
And your business will reflect who you are. And so when you're working on yourself every day, that's exactly what you need to do. But you need to do it over years, and that's going to be the hard test. That's why a lot of businesses and a lot of people fail, because they're like, yeah, I'm not seeing any results. So it's like in anything, say it's weight loss. Yeah, I ran 3 miles today, and that's all you did for and then you ate junk food the rest of the year.
Right.
Well, that's why you didn't succeed.
Exactly.
I read this book. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. Really, really good book. And it says 10% of what you make, you keep. So this guy went through this whole year. He saved that 10%, didn't spend it on really cool things or whatever. At the end of the year, he invested his money into like gems or something from the carpet maker. And they were bad gems, and he lost everything and had to go back and do that whole thing for a year again. And I think that's where we are, because we make mistakes and we learn from those mistakes, but every day is a new day. And this is something I was going to give to everybody out there, and is every day is a new day. If you are doing things consistently, this is a new day. It's a new challenge. Don't worry about what you did yesterday. You made your bed yesterday? Good. Today's another day. Make it again.
Exactly. Yep.
You put that little bit aside. Today's a new day. Do it again. You did some exercise yesterday. Today's a new day. Do it again.
Yep.
Take every single day as a new day, and don't think about the others. Just do what you do.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah. Get you out of that mindset.
Yeah. And then down the road, you're going to look back at all those days that you decided to look at it as a new day, and you're going to be like, thank you. Thanking yourself, saying, if I wouldn't have stuck it out, where would I be? But I'm glad that I stuck it out to get to where I am,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I see that in you. I see you can do it. I see you have that grit and a determination and all that thing. But it turns into perseverance, which is the most important quality. It turns into longevity, steady, stick-to-itiveness, which is not really a word, but hey, we use it. So.
We can make up our own words. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I do here, because that's my show, and I can say what I want.
Exactly.
But yeah, it turns into, what are you doing over a long period of time? We talked to Lynn, and Lynn says, hey, I'm an overnight success, but I started in 2013.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that's going out there right now. And I loved this interview because I was looking forward to it, because you're just starting out, but you're already really dynamic, and maybe you don't realize that, but you're already someone I think people will look up to at this point. Even though the age is different, I don't think it has much to do with anything.
You're not just saying that because of my height, are you?
Well, I look up to most people. And you, I really look up to. She said volleyball for a reason. This lady's really tall.
Well,
Andy has someone to look up to, too.
Yeah, seriously. He's my mentor. He looks up to me in a physical sense.
Stop looking down on your mentor.
Andy, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
Oh, he will.
But no, I appreciate that. It's encouraging to hear those things as you're starting out, because sometimes it can feel, there's going to be days that you feel defeated. You feel like you didn't necessarily win that day.
But tomorrow's a new day.
Exactly. And I remember listening to Michael Hilliard, who's pretty big in the company.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I just started taking it one day at a time. And every night I'd look in the mirror and I'd ask myself, did you win today? And he said, there's going to be days that you don't. But when it becomes more wins than losses, that's when you're making progress.
Yeah.
And ever since then, that's what I've taken on.
Yep,
Yes.
It really is.
Yep.
Because if you don't have any goals, you know, then you just flounder, basically. You just go about life like I'm just here kind of thing, you know? And I'm having a problem with my mic. Hold on a second. There we go. I was scooting up, and every time I scoot up, my mic would move. See, I told you, totally transparent. I don't mind you saying. So
it's a part of life.
So if you're just going about life, you have no goals, you have no fitness goals, you have no goals for financial, you just flounder, and you learn that you just keep staying level, which is bad. Or you go worse. But you start keeping track of wins and losses, because wins and losses matter.
Yes.
You start keeping track of that, you'll notice the body changes, you'll notice the financial changes, you'll notice your educational changes, and just your wisdom inside changes.
Yes.
And so I think that, like you said, a day at a time, maybe that's the message of this show right now, you know, a day at a time. What's your story? Evaluate what your story is every day. The things that you're telling people, like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm terrible. You know, I'm tired. I'm awful. You know, so the story that you're telling other people, the story that you're telling yourself, and the story that you're projecting to other people. You want to take that into account when you're looking in that mirror at the end of the day and saying, okay, is this a win or a loss?
Exactly.
I love that. I think that's awesome. I do. I really like that. So I got to ask a couple more things, and I was going to get to, but we have had some great conversation. This has been
we have
outstanding.
It's like we're sitting at the Shake Club drinking our oatmeal cranberry cookie shakes.
It's not the cookies, but you didn't put cookies in it. It was oatmeal craisin, and
but it's oatmeal craisin cookie.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's no cookies in it, but it's supposed to taste like an oatmeal craisin cookie.
Does it? Well, see, I always thought it was like oatmeal stuff, like breakfast and stuff. See, now I was confused, but she makes one of the best ones ever. I'm just letting you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shirley's pretty good at it too, and then Andy's third. Oh, I'm kidding, Andy.
Poor Andy on this podcast.
He gets it though. You know, I do this all the time. You know, he's awesome. I love Andy to death. I do. So, okay, so you said a couple of the struggles that you've had, and we went over kind of what I went over even last week and the week before with Lauren is the imposter syndrome, and how that has been like, God, it's just me, you know, I mean, who's going to listen to me type thing, and how am I going to lead people that I have no idea what I'm doing, and they can't know I don't know what I'm doing, you know, things like that. I think that we all go through that. I've went through that on this show, even though I'll just go do it anyway, because a little nuts. But I just go and do. What other things? Are there any other things that you can kind of pinpoint that have been stumbling blocks for you so far? So I'm going to ask that one another time. I just want to make sure we've covered that.
I mean, other than just the self-doubt, that feeling of imposter syndrome, who's gonna actually want to follow me, and if they do, how am I gonna lead them? Other than those things, I think learning, just trying to absorb everything that I can, and it has allowed me and caused me to do a lot of self-reflection along the way, and figure out those things that are, okay, this is something that I'm not great at. Here's something that I am great at.
Right.
And finding that balance of, okay, so if I'm not great at this, What do I do to supplement that? And who do I find to help me with that so I can capitalize on what I'm good at,
That's good.
And just learning along the way your strengths and weaknesses can be very humbling.
It can
Um,
be, but it can be very good for your business because if you learn, like I've learned, and I'm trying to change my story on this, but right now it's just the truth. And I'm big on the truth. Trust me, I really am.
mm-hmm,
I am not a salesperson. I am very, very bad at sales.
mm-hmm.
I, it was pretty much I couldn't sell like ice cream in hell type of thing. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's either I give stuff away or I just for some reason I just can't do that.
Mm-hmm,
And so I've looked into a lot of why that is, and a lot of it is that it's a self-worth thing for me right now. It's a
mm-hmm.
self-doubt thing. It's more self-doubt than it is that I can't go out and ask people for stuff. It's not that. It's just
Right.
how much am I worth? Have you ever come across that
Mm-hmm.
yet?
Yeah, I have, and that's a struggle.
Yeah.
And I think the minute we put a value on it, that's our where we fall. And that's where we
See,
tend to fail
oh, that's hard.
because
There's not just see in your business it's different. In the business like Lynn is in, she's a coach. She has to
mm-hmm,
price her coaching system.
mm-hmm,
She has to, and she went through a thing where it was like, okay, I'm only going to price it at this point because that's how much I feel like I'm worth. Do you
mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? So
Yes, yep.
it's like you have to price things where you think you're worth, and you'll notice that a lot of people. I think she's got like a $2,700 course or something now. Because
Mm-hmm.
she broke through that barrier and is really, really doing well. And it's like, oh, I don't think people have that much, or I don't think people would pay that much to hear me and all this stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
in saying that it's something that we shouldn't do, it's almost an exercise that's beneficial because it
I
gives us,
agree. Yes. I think I was more taking it from the perspective of putting a price tag on your value as a human.
yeah, as a human
You know what I
being.
mean?
Oh, I mean, as an
with
expert
with
or
a
a,
with a product, yeah, with
yes.
a product, and if you're providing a service, yes, you have to
Mm,
put a price tag on that, and that's going to be a growing process of what do
yes.
I charge, what am I worth.
Yes.
I
What am I
completely
worth?
agree.
Yeah.
I think I was just more putting it on the perspective of like you yourself, how you view yourself and
Okay.
your
Okay.
value, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, I
Because
do.
when you do that, that's when you're going to fail because we're never going to see ourselves personally. We are always so hard on ourselves, and
I
we're
agree
never
with
going to
that.
see ourselves at a high value because that's how we a lot of times we view ourselves is, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, like I can't do this, I can't do that. But yes, you have to charge money for what you do.
Yeah, you do. Or
Otherwise,
you don't make any
you
money.
yeah, it's not going to work
Then
out
it's not
very well.
entrepreneurship, it's a
Um,
hobby.
Exactly, exactly. So I agree with you wholeheartedly with what you just said in regards to putting a value on your product or service,
Yes.
and
Yes.
essentially that, and that is a growing process. Um,
Yeah. It
I
was
am
for
in
Lynn, and
a
I
different.
loved that about her thing because it was so dynamic to see
Mhm.
what you feel you're worth because a lot of businesses you don't have to put that out there.
Right.
And in her particular one, that's how she makes her money. She sells courses and she sells her services, and it's like, how much is my expertise worth? And I think the imposter syndrome really rears its ugly head there
Yes. Yep. I
more than
agree.
anywhere else. You really
Yes.
have to battle how many people view me as an expert, how many people view me as somebody that knows what I'm talking about,
Hmm.
and all that, and then you deal with, hey, I'm just me from my little old town. I'm from Muskegon, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, from my little town, and who's going to listen to me? And everybody knows me, and they know I'm goofy, and I joke
Yeah.
around all
Right.
the time.
Yeah.
So that is kind of a thing here too. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm trying to wrap up because I know that you might be busy and such. Maybe,
Yeah.
just maybe.
I just have some. I have to make some chili.
Just to make some chili.
I'm in a chili cook-off,
Are
so
you really? Oh, that's
yes.
amazing.
So I'm gonna make some chili after this. But
That's wonderful. I was going to ask you if you would give advice to people that are not started yet, but they got it in their head and they got this bug, the entrepreneurial bug, or someone who's just starting out. What do you think, or what is your advice to them? I guess is what I'm asking you.
I would say have a very willing attitude. A willing attitude when it comes to willing to work on yourself. I think that's first and foremost. Um, Being able to work on yourself, being able to be real with yourself, not being prideful, just saying, okay, like reflecting on who you are, what you can do, maybe what you're not great at, and then just taking it one step at a time. If that's, I wish I would have been able to do that when I was trying to start my clothing line, because when I started that, I had the mindset of I have to have it all figured out before I even get the ball rolling. And that was my demise because I felt overwhelmed instantly.
Yep.
So I say, if you have a great idea, if there's something you're passionate about, figure out that first step after you reflect on yourself and are able to say, okay, what do I need to do personally to grow, and start working on that. And then while you're doing that, figure out that first step. What can I do right now? What can I do today that's going to take me one step closer to reaching that end goal? I think that you should have a goal, but more so, I was listening to a podcast, more so a growth mindset over a goal mindset. There's a difference.
Yes, there is.
And a goal mindset, you're going to reach that goal and you're going to say, that's where you cap your potential, because that goal is like, okay, I hit it, and then I can stop.
Yes.
And you cap your potential. Whereas if you say, okay, I have goals along the way, but I'm more focused on growth, that's when your potential is endless.
Yeah.
Because you reach that goal and you're like, okay, on to the next. Okay, on to the next.
I like
and
that.
your goal just keeps growing, and there should never be one goal, and when I reach that, that's it.
That's it.
And so I wish I would have had that mindset when I was trying to start my clothing line, because it would have changed my thought process of, I'm so overwhelmed with everything I have to do, and I'm never going to reach my end goal, to, okay, here I am today. What can I do today to take me one step closer to my initial goal? And then when I hit that, okay, great. What's next? What can I do next to keep going? So I say to anybody who's starting out, one, don't doubt yourself so much, or at all. I mean, there's a balance, because if we're overconfident, if we have that ego about, I can do anything. Arrogance, yes, that's the word. If we have that, it's not going to go over so well. But if we have the doubt, then we'll never start. Right. So it's about getting over that, and instead of focusing on what you can't do, focusing on what you can do. Yes. And that has been something that I have had to learn, and has been a tough lesson, and has grown me immensely. So I would say, if you're starting out, go for it. There's going to be a lot of people that say you might be crazy for what you're doing, or don't believe in what you're doing. But like you said, they're going to watch you, and they're going to see what you're doing. Are you sticking it out? Are you growing? And then someday when you get there, they're going to want to be a part of it. And on the opposite spectrum, you're going to have people that are a part of it the entire time. And I found that group of people for me. And so I stick close to them, and I learn from them, and I am just willing to do whatever it takes to learn, grow, and get to essentially where I want to be someday. And have that longevity mindset too, though, through the process. And don't be so discontent with not having instant results.
I think that's really important, that what you just said about the longevity maybe mindset, because too often the only reason that we fail is we quit. Really, that's the only reason we fail, because we don't believe in ourselves so much that we just say, well, it's so overwhelming, there's no way I could do this, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's a key to businesses, being able to stick to it. We had talked about that before.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up because we could go all day. Seriously,
Oh, we could.
could talk all day. But I wanted
could.
I wanted to say this episode is coming out the day before Halloween, so I really appreciate you dressing up. And
Michael. Yeah. Okay, Jim.
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you've been waiting. You've been waiting.
But it does. It comes out the day before Halloween.
Awesome.
So happy Halloween to everybody out there tomorrow night. Have a safe thing for the little trick-or-treaters and stuff like that. So, there's a number of church organizations that have things that they're doing that night too, if you don't want to be on the roads and all that stuff. So we want you to be safe. And I really appreciate you, Kelsee, for coming on and taking the abuse. And
No, I appreciate you having me. I loved this. This was great. I appreciate what you're doing and the way you're seeking to help other people. And I remember us sitting down and you saying this is what you wanted to do. And here we are, and you're doing it. And so I appreciate that mindset that you have in that go-getter attitude that says, I'm going to figure it out one thing at a time. I know this is something I want to do. And here we are making it happen. So you inspire me when you come in and you talk, and I always appreciate your wisdom and knowledge that you always give to me. So
thank you. I goof around quite a bit, and Andy's probably the brunt of most of that stuff. But
most jokes, yep.
But I just feel like it keeps us humble. I think we all don't think more of ourselves than we do. So I think that's awesome, and it's fun to play with that little thing because I think it just keeps us grounded. It's just a thing where we're all goofy. We all have a great time, and yet we're all trying to get to a certain point in our lives. And a little humor is not a terrible thing.
No, it's not.
So, anyways, you want to say goodbye to everybody out there? Maybe got a message for them while we end the show?
Yeah, just thanks for watching. If you stuck it out to the end, appreciate it. But yeah, just take it one day at a time. Go out, find your passion, follow that passion, and just impact people along the way. So
right. And I'm supposed to say, because I forgot this, like the last, 6 shows or whatever I've done, to hit the subscribe button and the like button. I guess I'm supposed to say that every show, so I did. There you go. It's all done.
Well, do it on this one. Do it on this one.
Yes, give me the likes on this one and subscribe. And we really appreciate that because it does something, and I'm not sure what it is. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know. I'm just joking around. I do that a lot. But anyway, really, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate each and every one of you listening to this and supporting what we're doing here. And until next time, I really want to thank you, Kelsee, and everybody have a good week.